Okay, so you've got jamming your hands in gateways, jamming your hands in slides. What about when you're needling?
Oh, impalement. Being impaled by a needle.
Oh, needle stick, yeah.
If you've got bars like that, lower, like being able to fling at you.
Getting the arms caught between stock and rails.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where the procedure you use for needling comes important. Always come over rails when you're needling stock. You've got other hazards you need to look out for, like just your ground surface, trip areas and that sort of thing. Some of the most common injuries around stockyards are wrists when we're needling, and twisted ankles when we're on uneven ground. Rocks and that sort of thing. A lot of it's stuff easy to fix. Just flick the rocks out, flick the sticks out, and pack your brains and use your common sense when you're needling. But also when you come into yards all the time, familiarise yourself with the facility. Okay, how does the stock flow? Because you've got to work with that facility that's there today. So you've got to come in and think smart, check it out, and work safely. Okay?
Is that like a little dog cage on that gate down there, like open for your dogs to run through?
No, that was just there. That was just there, Mitchell. Yeah.
There's a small main gate.
Slide gates. So you use the handles. Sometimes you'll come up against ones without handles. So you finish up jamming your fingers in there. Set up your head bars. Familiarise yourself with them so that not only do you know how to use it well so you can use it safely, but how you can appropriately catch that animal. I'll get you all to go through that one later, and just before we start to catch, get the feeling of it, because they have different yards, they have different sorts of bales, and they all operate that bit differently. Yeah, and then we've got to think about things like dust. In dusty yards, there's sprinklers here. We don't need them at the moment because there's no big mobs of cattle, and there's moisture a couple of days ago, so it's not going to get dusty here. It can get pretty choking if you're working all day in dust. Heat, yeah.
Sunburn.
Yeah, if you don't have roofs and that sort of thing, you can start really early in the morning.
You need a shade cloth somewhere.
Well, I do, don't I? Yeah. I'll try and get it before you next time. And a lot of places do have roofs over their race and their working areas. Yeah. We're starting to work with stock. We're going to be needling their stock. Mitchell mentioned needle stick. We've spoken about as you're needling, that safe approach, and when we bring cattle up, we'll look at that again. What are we going to be doing with these cattle? What about branding?
Burns.
Burns, yeah. So how can you avoid that?
Caution.
Caution. Set your furnace up in a spot where you can get at it. Yeah. It's out of your way, but it's convenient for you to use. You don't want to be walking big distances back to pick up your brand. Have that beast restrained properly as your brand. You're going to be working with dehorners.
Don't cut yourself.
Yeah, they're sharp. And if you're castrating, you've got scalpels and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, just a whole host of things like that. But just if you plan ahead and think smart, you don't have an issue. We're going to be backlining here, so what PPE should we be using there?
Glove.
A glove, yeah.
Is it toxic to breathe in at all as well or not?
Not so much you breathe in.
Yeah, if you're going to be using it in confined areas, you probably should
Yeah.
mask that, but definitely use it.